Story 1. The Woman on Jayuro Road. Subscribe. Korea's darkness has no end. She had driven Jayuro Road 100 times. Late nights, early mornings, the long stretch from Seoul toward Imjingak with nothing on either side but darkness and the occasional pair of headlights coming the other way. She knew every curve. She never thought about the stories. She saw the woman for the first time in October, standing on the shoulder of the road just past the 37-kilometer marker, still facing the oncoming traffic. She drove past at 110 kilometers per hour and caught her in the headlights for less than a second. White dress, dark hair, no shoes. She told herself it was a person in distress. She pulled over 200 meters ahead and looked in the rearview mirror. The shoulder was empty. No one was walking. No one was standing. The road behind her was completely dark. She sat for 3 minutes with her hazard lights on and then drove home and did not call the police because she did not know what she would have said. She saw her again the following week. Same marker, same position, facing the traffic. This time she slowed down. The woman did not move as the headlights swept over her. Her face was turned slightly downward. Her arms were at her sides. She was young, maybe 25. There was something wrong with her left side that the darkness made hard to see clearly. She accelerated and did not stop. She searched online when she got home. Jayuro Road Ghost. She found the stories immediately, dozens of them, going back years. A woman in white at the 37-kilometer marker, always facing the traffic, always still. And underneath the forum posts, buried in the comments, a single line that appeared again and again. They never caught who hit her. She found the news article from 11 years ago. A woman, 24 years old, struck by a vehicle on Jayuro Road near the 37-kilometer marker at 2 a.m. The driver had not stopped. She had been found at dawn by a passing truck driver. The police had investigated and found nothing. The case was still open. Her name was Park Soyeon. She had been on her way home from a night shift at a convenience store. Nobody had been charged. Nobody had been found. She drove the road again the following week. She told herself she wouldn't stop. She told herself she would drive past and keep going. She passed the 37-kilometer marker at 80 kilometers per hour, slower than usual. And the woman was there, same as always. And this time, as the headlights passed over her, the woman lifted her head and looked directly at her. Not at the road, not at the car, at her, through the windshield. Eyes that had been waiting for 11 years. She pulled over immediately. She sat with the engine running and her hands shaking on the wheel and looked in the rearview mirror. The shoulder was empty, but on the road, just visible in the red glow of her taillights, something was there. A glint. Small, reflecting. She got out of the car. She walked back to the marker. On the shoulder of the road, half buried in the gravel, was a piece of broken headlight lens. Old, weathered, with a partial number etched into the plastic that she recognized as a vehicle registration code. She took a photograph and called the police. Story 2. The Child in the Stairwell. Subscribe. Korea's darkness has no end. She moved into the apartment complex in spring. 16th floor, new building, clean stairwells. On her third night, she heard it for the first time. A child's voice in the stairwell outside her door, calling for someone. The same word, over and over. Eomma, Eomma, Eomma. She opened the door. The stairwell was empty. The voice had stopped the moment she touched the handle. She looked up and down the stairs. Nothing. She went back inside and stood at the door and listened. Silence. She told herself it was a child on another floor. Sound traveled strangely in new buildings. She went to bed. It happened every night for 2 weeks. Always between midnight and 2 a.m. Always the same word. Eomma. She began to notice details. The voice never moved. It did not travel up or down the stairs. It came from the same point, just outside her door on the landing, every single time. and it always stopped the moment she opened the door. She asked the building manager about the complex's history. He told her the building was 3 years old. Before that, the land had been empty for a decade. Before that, there had been an older apartment complex on the same site. She asked if anything had happened there. He looked at her carefully. There was a fire, he said, 7 years ago. 3rd floor of the old building. A family. The parents got out. The child did not. She found the news coverage online. The fire had started at 1 a.m. The parents had woken to the smoke alarm and escaped through the window. By the time the firefighters arrived, the stairwell was completely filled with smoke. They had found the child on the landing outside the apartment door. She had made it out of the unit. She had been trying to reach the stairs. She was 4 years old. Her name was Jimin. The article included a photograph. A small girl with short hair and a yellow pajama top, smiling in what appeared to be a birthday photograph. She closed the laptop and sat in the dark for a long time. She searched for the parents. It took her 3 days. The mother had left comments under the original news article years ago, asking if anyone had information about the investigation. She found a contact through a community forum. She wrote a message. She did not know how to explain what she had heard. She wrote only that she lived in the new complex built on the site of the fire, and that she had found something she thought the family might want to know. She sent it before she could change her mind. The mother replied the next morning. They met at a cafe near the complex. The woman was in her 40s now. She sat across from her and listened without speaking as she described the voice, the word, the timing, the landing outside her door. When she finished, the mother was quiet for a long time. Then she said, that was our floor. We lived on the 16th floor of the old building. Same position, same landing. She was coming to find me. The mother asked if she could come to the building. She said yes. They stood together on the landing outside her door at midnight and waited. The stairwell was silent. They waited for an hour. The mother did not speak. She stood with her hands folded and her eyes closed. At 1:17 a.m., she heard the mother whisper something, too quiet to make out. Then silence. Then the mother opened her eyes and said, "Thank you." She left without explaining. On the drive home, she called to say that she felt, for the first time in 7 years, that Jimin knew she had never stopped looking. She never heard the voice again. The landing outside her door was quiet every night after that. But on the last night, she heard it, the night before the mother came. She had stood at the door with her hand on the handle for a long time before opening it. And in that moment, in the silence just before she turned the handle, she had heard something she had not heard before. Not Eomma. Something quieter. Something that sounded just barely like thank you.